So in the last part we went over all the basic stuff that we need to learn before we can actually implement a web crawler, and in this part we're going to start actually implementing the actual code. So if I go to the web browser now, we don't need this page anymore. This is the actual page that runs the bot. If we go back to the text editor, you can see this is index.php and this is index.php too. So we're not actually going to be using the web browser for this series to actually see our PHP script and to run it, because when we're running our bot, because it runs forever, it's not actually going to stop the execution, so we'll never be able to see the output on the web browser. So we have to run it through the terminal, and by running it through the terminal we'll be able to see the output as it's actually output onto the screen, and we won't have to wait like we normally do when we run a PHP script on a website. So you have to have PHP installed on your computer for this. If you have XAMPP installed, you should be 100% fine. So you can see what version of PHP you're running if you just type in php-v, and you can see this is the version I'm running, PHP 5.5. So that's actually quite an outdated version of PHP, but it's actually fine for this series. So I've tested it in PHP 5.5, but I've also tested it in the new PHP 7, and it works completely fine in both versions. So this shouldn't cause any problems whatsoever. So the first thing we need to do after we have the URL we're going to crawl is we need to create a function that will actually do the crawling for us. So we create a function called follow links. And then down here I'm just going to run the function follow links. And the function is going to take one parameter, and it's going to be start, which is going to be the URL we want to start the crawl on. I will actually change this to URL. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go to this URL and we need to get all of the links on that page. PHP has a built-in class called DOM document, which allows you to parse HTML pages. So we're going to say doc is equal to a new instance of the DOM document class, and then what we're going to use is the built-in method in the DOM document class called load HTML. So we're just going to say doc load HTML, and in here what we do is we pass it some HTML. So we could just literally type in our HTML like this, but what we're going to do is we're going to get the HTML from this website here. So we're going to use PHP's file get contents function. And we're going to pass it the URL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the terminal and I'm going to type in php index.php to run it, and I'm going to hit enter. You can see we get no output, but we get no errors, so far so good. The next thing we need to do, now that we've loaded the HTML, is we need to look for the links. So we're going to create another variable, call it link list, which is going to contain all of the links on the page, and we're going to set that equal to doc get elements by tag name, because each one of these links is created using an A tag, so we're going to look for those tags on the page. So we just say tag name A. The next thing we need to do is loop through all of the links that we find. So we're going to say for each link list as link, which just means for every link in the list we're going to refer to it as link. Then what we're going to do is we're going to actually retrieve the link. So if I go back to the web page, you can see that we have the tag here that is A, then we have this that says href. This is called an attribute, and we need to get the value of that attribute, and that's how we're going to get the links. So we do that by saying link get attribute, and we're going to say href. And what we're going to do pretty much is just echo that out. We're going to put on a new line at the end, and we'll see what we get back. So if we run this, you can see we get exactly the links that we found on the page. And if I go back to the page, these are exactly what were in the hrefs. So what we've done is we've gone to the link, which is the starting point. Then we've got the contents of the HTML file. We've downloaded the contents of this file to the computer, and we've pulled out all the values that are contained within the href attributes of the links on the page. So that's it for this part, and I'll see you next time.